Some people don't replace you because they've healed. They replace you because they can't handle the silence your absence leaves behind. Read that again, my friends. Let it sink in. They replaced you fast, but they'll regret it even faster. That's not just a title. That's a truth most won't say out loud. It's the reality they're trying to bury under fake smiles, rebound relationships, and story updates that scream, "I'm fine," but whisper, "I'm still broken." This is not about bitterness. This is about breaking the illusions they sold you. So if you're ready to see through the noise, to rise instead of react, hit that like button, subscribe, and make sure you stay with me until the very end. We're going somewhere powerful today. Hey folks, imagine this. You're standing on a stage, and just as the lights dim, the lead actor walks off, and a new one runs in like they've been waiting in the wings the whole time. That's what it felt like, didn't it? 1 minute, you were everything. The next, you were gone, replaced, erased, and it cuts deep, because you're sitting there trying to process heartbreak while they're out there uploading happiness. It feels like emotional whiplash, like watching someone switch the channel of their life mid-scene while you're still frozen in the last frame. But let's break that illusion right now. Fast replacements don't equal fast healing. Fast replacements equal panic. They didn't heal, they hurried. They didn't reflect, they ran. And what you're seeing right now isn't power, it's performance. It's a highlight reel made to provoke a reaction. That new person, that new smile, that whole "I've moved on" energy. It's not real healing, it's costume therapy. It's a mask worn over a wound that never got cleaned, just covered. They didn't replace you because you weren't enough. They replaced you because they were too weak to sit with the echo you left behind. And yeah, that might sting. It might hit hard. But it's also the truth that sets you free. Because now you stop asking, "Was I not worth it?" And you start saying, "Wait, they never even faced it." Let me give you something heavy, but necessary. They didn't move on. They just moved fast. And fast movers always trip over what they never dealt with. And trust me, regret is waiting for them like a shadow. Not right away, no. At first, they'll feel empowered. They'll feel in control. But over time, when the new connection starts to feel like a copy of a page that never turned, when their thoughts drift back to you and they realize you never chased, never cracked, never begged, that's when it hits. And here's where you flip the script. You don't post cryptic quotes. You don't respond to their breadcrumbs. You don't watch their stories hoping for a clue. You rise, you rebuild, you evolve into someone they can't reach, not because you blocked them, but because you outgrew the entire version of you they used to know. That's Stoicism. That's power. That's what they never saw coming. So, my friends, this video isn't about making them miss you. It's about making you remember who the hell you are. It's about rebuilding the self-respect that was shaken, not shattered. They replaced you fast. But you're about to become unforgettable. Quietly, relentlessly, stoically. If you're ready to stop wondering why they moved on fast and start building a version of yourself they'll regret losing for the rest of their life, write this in the comments right now. I rise in silence. Drop it below. Let it be a declaration. And if you're feeling this message, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because we're just getting started. Number 1. Fast replacement is a sign of panic, not power. They didn't replace you because they were strong. They replaced you because they were scared. Read that again. Let it cut, because behind every fast goodbye is a fear they'll never admit. And behind every fast replacement is a soul screaming, "Please don't let me feel this." See, most people think moving on quickly is strength, that posting a new relationship just weeks, sometimes days, after a breakup is some kind of emotional upgrade. But let's expose the truth. It's not power, it's panic. It's not healing, it's hiding. They didn't process, they just passed the pain onto someone else, hoping if they moved fast enough, they'd outrun the emptiness you left behind. Imagine a house burning down. The flames are everywhere, the walls are collapsing, but instead of rebuilding, someone just packs their bags and moves into a tent next door. That's what a rebound is. It's not shelter, it's avoidance. It's not healing, it's a hollow escape from the work real recovery demands. And here's the crazy part. They think this makes them strong. But real strength? That comes from sitting with the ashes, rebuilding the foundation brick by brick. They didn't do that. You're doing that. But you're probably asking yourself, why didn't they fight? Why didn't they stay and fix it? And worse, does this mean I was never enough? That I was easy to replace? That's the lie most people swallow. That speed equals strength. That silence equals closure. That new love equals better love. But listen to this. The faster someone replaces you, the more terrified they are of being alone with what they lost. Because facing the truth means facing themselves. And some people would rather jump into another illusion than sit in silence with their guilt. Let's be real, it's painful to watch. Seeing them out there, smiling in someone else's arms, acting like what you had was just a detour on their way to something better. But behind those smiles, there's something they didn't post. The overthinking, the comparisons, the late nights when they scroll through old photos but never dare to revisit the chat. The moments when the new person doesn't feel quite right because your presence still lingers in the background like a shadow they can't shake. But you're on the other side now. You're not chasing, you're choosing. Choosing discipline over reaction. Choosing to rise instead of reach out. Choosing to grow in silence instead of proving your pain through posts and pity. And I know it's hard. I know some nights you stare at the ceiling and wonder if they ever really cared. I know the silence screams louder than words ever could. But let me tell you this, my friend. Every second you stay grounded, you're pulling further ahead. Every time you resist the urge to check their story, you reclaim a piece of your power. They didn't break you. They broke their own illusion. Because they thought you were dependent on them for your worth. They thought replacing you would erase the bond. But it's not that simple. What you built wasn't shallow. It was real. And the thing about real love, you can't bury it under a highlight reel. It resurfaces when you least expect it. So if you're still wondering whether you mattered, if you're still measuring your value by how fast they replaced you, stop. Your value was never defined by how they left. It's revealed by how you rise. And now, you rise. You don't need to make them regret it. Life will handle that. Time will handle that. Their own reflection will handle that. You just focus on becoming the version of you they'll never get access to again. The one who doesn't flinch. The one who builds. The one who turns silence into strength, pain into purpose, and heartbreak into legacy. Because here's what they don't expect. For you to stop watching. For you to stop wondering. For you to stop bleeding energy into something that's already behind you. When they realize you're not reacting, not reaching, not even looking their way, that's when the cracks form. That's when doubt creeps in. That's when the weight of what they lost becomes too heavy to carry in silence. And by then, you'll be too far ahead to even hear the echo. So right now, in this moment, I want you to remind yourself and the world of who you are becoming. You're not broken, you're not bitter, you're rebuilding. And the power in that, it's undeniable. Not because you're louder, but because you're deeper. Comment this right now. I rise in silence. Write it for you. Write it for the version of you who stayed loyal when they didn't. Write it for the version of you who deserved more and is now becoming more. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world around you that you're not defined by who left, but by who you're becoming in the aftermath. Because what's coming next? Oh, they won't see it coming. Stay with me. Number 2. The rebound is their crutch, not their crown. They didn't choose better. They just chose easier. And easy doesn't last. That one stings a little, doesn't it? But let it sting, because it's the kind of truth that sets you free. You saw them move on fast, maybe even flaunt it. And now your mind keeps replaying the same question like a broken record. Was I that easy to replace? Was it ever real? But let me tell you what's really happening, what nobody is saying out loud, that new person in their life. That's not a crown. That's a crutch, a quick patch job over a deep wound they didn't want to face. See, when people jump straight into something new without processing the last, it's not a sign of growth, it's a sign of fear. It's like breaking a leg and running a marathon the next day. Sure, it looks impressive from the outside, until the pain catches up and everything collapses underneath. And that's exactly what rebounds are. A performance. One they put on to feel normal, to distract, to pretend they're not still carrying pieces of what they lost. They didn't replace you because they were ready. They replaced you because they weren't. And instead of facing their emotions, they outsourced them. Instead of healing, they grabbed onto the nearest available hand and called it moving on. But what they really did was skip the part where growth happens, the part where accountability hits, where the mirror talks back, where silence whispers, you let go of something real. The rebound isn't a reward. It's a distraction dressed up as a new beginning. They're not connecting, they're covering, they're not glowing, they're gasping for emotional air. And what they don't realize is that no matter how fast they run, the pain always catches up. That new relationship might look like a honeymoon now, but when the novelty fades and reality creeps in, that's when it hits. That's when your absence turns into presence. That's when regret replaces romance. But you've got a different path. You're not out here scrambling for validation. You're not panicking in silence. You're building, slowly, quietly, powerfully, because you know real strength isn't found in replacement. It's forged in reflection. The more they rush, the more you rise. And eventually, the contrast will become too loud to ignore. You'll be walking in purpose, and they'll be stuck repeating patterns. Now let's address the part that hurts, the thought that they might be happier without you. That's the fear, right? That they found someone better, that they're laughing, loving, living like you never mattered. But here's what you must understand. Happiness doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't post every moment. It doesn't need to be seen. What they're showing the world isn't love. It's proof. Proof they're okay. Proof they moved on. Proof they didn't lose. But ask yourself, why would anyone so genuinely fulfilled need to prove anything at all? Exactly. So stop comparing your healing to their highlight reel. Stop measuring your worth against a rushed connection that was built on escape, not evolution. You're not behind, you're ahead. Because while they're numbing the pain, you're turning it into power. While they're chasing distractions, you're building identity. While they're leaning on someone new, you're standing on your own 2 feet. And that's what makes you unforgettable. You're not reacting, you're not collapsing, you're not scrambling to replace what walked away. You're becoming, and that's what they never expected. They thought you'd fold, they thought you'd fall. But here you are, stacking strength in silence. So let them post, let them play pretend, let them mask the storm with a staged smile, because soon enough that mask will crack. And when it does, they'll remember the one who didn't chase, who didn't fight for breadcrumbs, who didn't beg to be chosen again. They'll remember the one who became untouchable, not out of spite, but out of self-respect. Right now, I want you to remind yourself that you don't need to win them back to prove your value. You never lost your value to begin with. Comment this below and stamp it on your identity. I'm not a placeholder. Write it, mean it, live it. You were never the problem, you were the lesson. And eventually, they'll realize it. But by then, you'll be too far gone, too elevated, too whole to ever be replaced again. Stay with me, because what's coming next will hit even harder. Number 2, their smile doesn't erase your impact. They can fake the smile, but they can't fake the silence that follows. Let's be real. What you saw broke you for a second. That new post, that laughing picture, that shared moment with someone who isn't you, and it hit like a punch in the chest. You sat there staring at it, wondering how someone who said they cared could look so light, so free, so over it. Like the memories didn't even leave a dent. Like everything you built together was just a placeholder for the next chapter they couldn't wait to start. And deep down, the question started to burn. Did I ever matter at all? But here's the truth, and I need you to hear it clear. That smile you saw, it isn't the full story. It's a screenshot, a highlight, a polished moment posted for attention, for validation, and maybe, just maybe, for you. Because if they were really over it, if they had really moved on from what you two shared, they wouldn't need to post at all. True peace is private. Real healing doesn't need a camera. But what you're witnessing isn't peace. It's performance. Think about it. If someone was truly content, truly whole, they wouldn't need the world's approval to feel okay. But when someone replaces connection with presentation, when their smiles are louder than their actions ever were, that's not happiness. It's hiding. It's the emotional equivalent of painting over a cracked wall and pretending the foundation isn't rotting underneath. See, they're hoping you see that post. They want you to wonder, to react, to hurt, not because they hate you, but because deep down, they still need to feel like they matter in your world. Your silence, it's screaming louder than anything they're saying. And that's what unsettles them. That's what they didn't plan for. They expected drama. They expected a reaction, a text, a slip, some breadcrumb of pain to confirm that they still had control. But when you didn't fold, when you didn't watch their story or throw shade online or spiral in public, that's when the doubt started to creep in. That's when the quiet began to echo louder than they could manage. What you left behind wasn't just memories. You left a presence, a standard, a version of yourself they never fully appreciated, but one they now secretly compare everything else to. And no matter how many smiles they post, no matter how loud they try to make their new, happy look, there's one thing they can't fake: the feeling of something real being gone. They thought you were replaceable, until they realized you were irreplaceable. But the cruel twist? That realization doesn't come with fireworks. It comes in moments. Quiet ones, late nights, silent scrolls, moments where the conversation doesn't flow the same, where the energy feels different, where laughter isn't as effortless. That's when your impact haunts them, not like a ghost, but like a standard they can't escape. And what do you do in all this? Do you fight to remind them of what they lost? Number. You level up. You don't post to compete. You progress to evolve. You don't run to be seen. You build in silence to become undeniable. Because while they're trying to prove they've moved on, you're not trying to prove anything at all. You're just becoming. And that's what really messes with their head. Because they'll realize one day that it wasn't just the relationship that ended. It was access to a version of you that gave everything without asking for much. A version of you that was patient, loyal, forgiving. And now that version? Gone. Not bitter. Not broken. Just gone. So stop wondering if their smile means they're healed. Stop comparing your quiet to their noise. And stop questioning your impact based on someone else's performance. Your value was never measured in likes, posts, or public displays. Your impact lives in their quiet moments, in their thoughts, in their regrets. And eventually, they'll wish they had appreciated the real thing before it disappeared into purpose. Write this in the comments and let it hit like truth. My presence is unforgettable. Say it for the version of you who thought their smile meant you didn't matter. Say it for the one who stayed silent when reacting would have been easy. Show them, without saying a word, that your absence is the loudest thing they've ever felt. Stay with me, because the silence is just getting started. Number 3. Regret is slow, but it's inevitable. Regret doesn't scream, it whispers, it doesn't knock loud, it creeps in when no one's around. At first, it doesn't look like they regret anything. They seem happy, light, like they're floating forward without ever looking back. They've got someone new, a new smile, new posts, maybe even a whole new personality. And while you're sitting in silence trying to piece your soul back together, they're out there acting like they never even lost something real. It feels unfair, doesn't it? Like they got to walk away pain-free while you're left carrying the weight of everything they discarded. But here's the part they don't show, and probably don't even see coming yet. Regret doesn't arrive at the start. It doesn't hit them while the cameras are rolling and the honeymoon phase is strong. No, regret has patience. It waits until the world quiets down, until the buzz fades, until they finally sit still and realize that the person they left behind didn't chase them, that you didn't break down, that you didn't try to fix what they shattered, that you just vanished into discipline. That's when it starts. Not with a bang, but with a thought, a subtle ache, a memory that slips in while they're driving, or lying next to someone who doesn't laugh the same way you did, or trying to force that same emotional connection and realizing it's not there. That's when they start to feel the ghost of your presence, not just the memory of you, but the weight of your absence. Regret is tricky like that. It's not loud. It doesn't announce its arrival. It waits until pride fades, until the high of distraction wears off, until the rebound doesn't feel new anymore and reality settles in. It starts with doubt. Did I do the right thing? Then it turns into reflection. Maybe I overreacted. And eventually, it becomes realization. I let go of something rare. But by the time that hits, you're not where they left you. You've been building, quietly, focused, detached. They thought silence meant weakness, but it was preparation. They thought your stillness meant suffering, but it was strategy. And the deeper you go into yourself, the harder it becomes for them to reach you. Not because you're hiding, but because you're evolving. And let me tell you something else they never expected. They never thought you would be the one they couldn't get over. They thought they were the one with the power, the one in control, the one with the upper hand. But power shifts the moment you stop reacting. The moment you stop asking questions and start building answers. The moment you stop waiting and start rising. They feel that shift, even if they won't admit it. They feel the silence. They feel the space you used to fill with effort, energy, and love. They feel the absence of attention, the missing validation, the quiet that replaced your presence. And the longer it lasts, the louder it gets. And when it finally hits them that you're not coming back, not because you're angry, but because you're better, they'll regret it even faster than they replaced you. Because now the one thing they thought they'd always have is gone. Not physically, emotionally, spiritually, energetically. And that kind of loss? It sticks. But you, my friend, you don't chase people who need time to realize your worth. You become the version of yourself that never has to convince someone again. You use this moment not to prove anything to them, but to prove everything to yourself. That you are not disposable, that you are not defined by who couldn't see you, that your value doesn't decrease just because they were blind to it. So when that regret comes knocking, and it will, you'll already be too far ahead, too disciplined, too grounded, too focused on your own purpose to entertain what once broke you. Comment this below right now and claim it. Their regret doesn't stop my rise. Let them feel it. Let them sit with the silence they created. Let them carry the weight of what they threw away. You've got mountains to move. And we're just getting started. Stay with me, because what's next? That's when everything starts to shift. Number 4, stop watching. Start building. Every second you spend watching them is a second you've stopped watching your own growth. Let's talk about the trap, the one so many fall into after they've been left behind. You know the one. You say you're over it, say you're done, and then at 2 a.m. you're back on their profile, scrolling, watching, wondering, reading between every line of their captions like it's a secret message meant for you, watching their stories like you're still part of the audience. But here's the cold truth. You're not part of the show anymore. You're sitting in a theater of someone else's performance, watching them pretend your absence doesn't sting. But they're not your business anymore. The moment they chose to replace you instead of repair what was real, they also chose to forfeit access to your attention. And your attention, that's sacred, that's energy, that's your power. And every time you give a second of it to them, you're leaking fuel you need to rise. Let me ask you this. How can you heal when you're feeding your wounds with more of what cut you? How can you move forward if your eyes are still locked on what's behind? You can't drive a car while staring in the rearview mirror. You'll crash. And that's what happens when you stay stuck watching someone who already showed you where they stand. The truth is, they know you're watching. That's the unspoken game. They post not to share, but to provoke, to test, to see if they still live rent-free in your head. That quote they posted, the one about growth and choosing peace, that was bait. That happy group photo with the new person laughing in the background, that was staged. A carefully crafted image to control the narrative. But your silence, your disinterest, that's the glitch in their plan. That's the moment the script falls apart. Because you weren't supposed to heal quietly. You weren't supposed to let go. You were supposed to spiral, to chase, to break. But instead, you stopped watching and started building. And let me tell you what that does. It flips the entire dynamic. When you stop feeding their ego with your curiosity, you start starving the illusion they're trying to maintain. That illusion that they won, that they're better off, that you were forgettable. But the moment you stop peeking through the digital blinds and start focusing on your grind, your glow-up becomes a problem. Not for you, for them. Because now they don't know what's going on in your world. Now you become the mystery. You become the one they check on in secret. And while you're hitting the gym, building the business, reclaiming your discipline, they're the ones scrolling now, wondering what happened to the man they thought they left behind, wondering why your energy no longer reaches for them, wondering why the person they expected to break turned into someone they no longer recognize. But here's the best part. You're not doing it for them. You're not posting to prove a point. You're not building out of spite. You're doing it because you finally remembered who you are. You remembered that your value doesn't decrease just because someone failed to recognize it. You remembered that real power isn't in getting their attention. It's in not needing it anymore. So today, you stop watching. You unfollow, not because you're bitter, but because you're done. You stop wondering how they're doing and start deciding how you're going to do. You stop replaying old moments and start scripting new ones. This is your moment of shift, the turning point, the quiet pivot that says, I don't look back anymore. Because the version of you that needed to know what they were doing, that version is already fading. And the new version, the focused one, the disciplined one, the one building silently, becoming unshakable, rooted, powerful, that version doesn't watch. He leads, he creates, he executes. So comment this below right now. I choose progress over peaking. Let it be your declaration. Let them wonder. Let the silence speak. Because the man who stops watching and starts building becomes the kind of force no one can ignore. And we're not done yet. Stay with me, because the silence, it's about to get even louder. Number 5. Silence is your psychological weapon. The loudest message you'll ever send is saying nothing at all. They expected you to chase. They expected that silence would drive you mad, that you'd fold, crawl back, beg for answers, or send one last paragraph trying to explain what they never even tried to understand. But when you didn't, when you went ghost, when your name vanished from their notifications, when your energy disappeared without a scene, that's when they started to feel something they didn't expect. Discomfort. See, most people are addicted to reactions, to noise, to drama, because reactions are proof they still have a grip on your emotions. When you get angry, when you post quotes, when you fire back, that's all fuel. It tells them, I still matter to them. That's what they crave more than love, control. But silence? Oh, silence destroys that illusion. Silence is mysterious. It's unsettling. It leaves them with questions instead of answers. Are you hurting? Are you healing? Are you waiting? Are you gone for good? That's the thing. When you stop talking, they're forced to have conversations with themselves. And those are the ones they've been running from since the beginning. They can post 1,000 times. They can flirt in public. They can show off someone new. But when you stay silent, when you don't bite the bait, when you don't even blink, they notice. Even if they never say it, even if they act unfazed, your silence becomes their obsession. Let me break something down for you. They didn't just expect your pain, they needed it. Not because they're evil, but because they're human. And humans fear insignificance more than anything. So when you cut off your energy completely, when you offer nothing, not a like, not a view, not even a whisper, that void starts to echo. They'll check your page. They'll scroll through your old messages. They might even send a subtle breadcrumb, a like, a view, a random follow. Not to reconnect, but to see if the door is still open. And when they find it shut, that's when the real storm begins. That's when your silence hits like thunder. And here's what you need to remember. Silence doesn't mean weakness. It's the highest form of self-control. Anyone can react. Anyone can scream. Anyone can type out a long message filled with pain and hit send. But the one who can feel everything and still say nothing, that's the one with the real power. Because silence is more than absence. It's a presence. It's the choice to protect your energy, to withhold your response, to starve the drama until it dies from lack of attention. And you know what happens when they realize you're not coming back with closure, with explanations, with one last attempt to fix what they broke. They panic. They wonder what you're thinking. They wonder why you didn't fight. They wonder if you already replaced them. They wonder if you were ever really broken. And that confusion, that's where your power multiplies. Because now you're not reacting to them. They're reacting to your silence. They start rewriting the past in their mind. Was I too harsh? Did I misread them? Maybe they were the one. The ego hates silence because silence can't be controlled. It can't be manipulated. It can't be decoded. It forces people to sit with the consequences of their actions. And that is a pain far deeper than anything you could have said. You don't need to block them to create distance. You don't need to post a glow-up to prove anything. All you need to do is disappear into growth. Because nothing is more haunting than the person who vanished. Not out of rage, but out of peace. So right now, stop thinking silence is your punishment. It's not a void. It's your most powerful weapon. Wield it with purpose. Let it speak for you. Let it do what words can't. And when they finally feel it, not just see it, but feel it, there won't be anything they can do to undo it. Comment this below right now. My silence is power, not weakness, not fear. Power. Let it be your armor. Let it be your message. Let it say everything you no longer need to. Stay with me, because we're not done yet. The deeper you go into this silence, the louder your transformation becomes. Number 6. When you evolve, they regret twice. They didn't just lose who you were. They lost the future version of you they'll never get access to again. At first, they only mourn what they think they left behind. The old version of you. The one who forgave too fast. The one who waited for texts that never came. The one who tried to fix things alone, hoping love would be enough to change what was already collapsing. But that version of you, he doesn't live here anymore. And when they finally realize it, that's when the second wave of regret hits. And trust me, it hits harder. See, the first regret is simple. It's the memory. The "I miss how they made me feel." The "maybe I acted too quickly." But the second regret, that one's a punch to the gut. It's when they realize you didn't just survive without them. You outgrew them. You got sharper, calmer, stronger, more disciplined, more focused. They don't recognize you now, and that's what haunts them. Because here's what they never expected. You were paying attention. You were quiet, yes. But while they thought you were hurting, you were transforming. You weren't watching their life unfold. You were rebuilding yours in silence. You weren't plotting revenge. You were laying bricks, rewiring your habits, breaking the chains of emotional dependency. While they stayed busy being loud and distracted, you became precise and powerful. And now, they'd kill for access to the version of you that only exists because they left. Let me paint it for you. They circle back, maybe not directly, maybe through a friend, a like, a text, a memory dropped casually into your DMS, but they're reaching, not because they miss who you were, but because they feel what you've become. The confidence in your silence, the certainty in your absence. You're not bitter, you're not angry, you're just done. And nothing is more unsettling than someone who's done with you and doesn't need you to know it. You've become rare, not just because you're healed, but because you didn't become cold, you became clear. And that clarity, that's what makes you unforgettable. Because most people, after a breakup, fall apart or rush into distractions. But you used the pain as a blueprint. You used every unanswered text, every ignored call, every tear as fuel to reinvent. You didn't just move on, you moved up. So when they look at you now, they see someone they never thought you could become. And it stings, not because they hate you, but because they lost the privilege of knowing this version of you. You were patient with them, you were present, you were kind. But they needed you to become unavailable to appreciate it. You used to be the one waiting. Now you're the one no longer accessible. And that's where the real regret kicks in. Not because they miss the past, but because they see the future without them in it. They see your glow-up, the discipline, the boundaries, the ambition, the way you carry yourself now, like a man who no longer questions his worth. And that image, it stays with them, because it reminds them of what they had when they weren't ready, and what they lost forever when they played games they thought you'd never win. But this isn't about revenge. This isn't about showing them what they missed out on. This is about you. This is about who you became in the dark. When no one was clapping, when no one was checking in, when you had every reason to fall, but chose to stand. The glow-up isn't for them to see, it's for you to feel. So stop looking back. Don't open the door when they knock with nostalgia. Don't entertain the echoes of someone who couldn't see your worth the first time. They didn't just lose you, they lost the evolution of you. And no amount of regret will ever be enough to get that version back. Write this in the comments right now. I evolve beyond reach. Let it be your new standard, your affirmation, your reminder that you're not here to prove anything to those who left. You're here to become someone they can't touch again. And what's coming next? Oh, it's bigger than they ever imagined. So stay with me, we're still building. This wasn't about them, it was about you. Sometimes the breakup wasn't a loss, it was a loud awakening, not of who they were, but of who you forgot you could be. Let's bring this full circle, my friends, because after everything, the silence, the distance, the glow-up, the power shift, There's one truth you can't ignore. This was never about them. It felt like it was. Sure. In the beginning, it always does. When the pain is fresh and the memory still warm. When you're staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., wondering if you weren't enough, if they ever really loved you, if you ever even mattered. Yeah, it felt like it was about them. But it wasn't. This whole experience was about you. It was about shaking you out of that comfort zone where you forgot how powerful you really are. About removing a false connection so you could build a true one with yourself. Because sometimes the universe doesn't send a lesson wrapped in peace. It sends it wrapped in pain. And this breakup. It wasn't the end of a love story. It was the beginning of your awakening. They were the spark. You were the fire. You weren't supposed to win them back. You were supposed to win yourself back. You were supposed to walk through that heartbreak and come out on the other side, unrecognizable to the man you were before it all fell apart. And if you really look at it now, isn't that what happened? Look at how you move now, how you think, how you protect your peace. That didn't happen while things were perfect. It happened when they collapsed. They didn't destroy you. They revealed you. See, most people think healing is about erasing someone, forgetting them, moving on fast and pretending it never happened. But real healing? That's not erasure. It's integration. It's accepting that this person came into your life not to complete you, but to wake you up. And now that you're awake, you're never going back to sleep. You know what hurts the most for them now? It's not the silence. It's not the absence. It's the realization that they were the catalyst for your transformation. But they don't get to witness the man you've become. They helped create a better you by mistreating the old you. And now? Now they only get to hear about him. They only get to see shadows, stories, and echoes of the version they'll never have access to again. And here's where the power flips for good. You don't need closure. You don't need a final conversation. You don't need an apology. Because you realized something deeper. You were never missing anything. You were just misplacing your focus. You were pouring into someone who didn't have the depth to receive it. But that love, that energy, that loyalty, it was never wasted, because now you've reclaimed it, and it's fueling the man you were always meant to be. So let them regret, let them scroll through your name and wonder why it doesn't echo back. Let them sit in the very silence they once thought would break you, because now they see what you always had inside of you, and what they'll never touch again. This wasn't about revenge. This wasn't about winning the breakup. This was about evolution. You didn't just move on, you leveled up. You didn't just survive, you became a force. Now take a breath, look in the mirror, and realize something most men never do. This whole time, you were the prize, not because you were perfect, but because you were willing to grow, willing to heal, willing to do the work. And that's rare. And now, let's bring it all together. You came into this video carrying pain, questions, maybe even doubt about your worth. But if you've made it this far, then you already know this wasn't about them replacing you. This was about you reclaiming you. They might have moved on fast, but you leveled up in silence. You didn't just survive their absence, you became someone they'll never have access to again. And that's where the real power lives. Let them smile for the camera. Let them post and pretend. Because while they're performing, you're building. Quietly, steadily, relentlessly. And when regret finds them, and trust me, it will, you won't have to say a word. Your evolution will speak louder than anything they could have imagined. If this hit home, do something powerful. Comment, "I was never replaceable" below. Let it be your declaration. And if you felt this, if it helped shift your mindset even 1 inch closer to your power, like the video, share it with someone who needs it, and make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. Because this isn't just a channel, it's a movement, and we're only getting started. Top of form. Bottom of form.